Peace.
up?
That was simultaneous. We did that right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Secret House Against, Tokyo-based hip-hop art and culture conversations. Thank you guys for clocking in. Today, me and Jet are back again, per usual, to discuss, kind of newly emerging underground, independent, avant-garde, experimental rap, hip-hop shit. Kind of like non-reviews. We kind of just discuss. I don't know. There's no number ratings on our joints, but, people on the screen right now are people that we rock with and support. Go pay attention to them. Caltrops Press, Noname Book Club, Rap Music Plug Podcast, The Sonic Cloth. All of them are doing incredible things artistically for the community, for people, and just like really dope. We support them. Pay attention. Also, shout out to our patrons. Today, we're going to be talking about the new ElCamino and RealBadMan collaborative project called The Game is the Game. It is 10 songs long, 22 minutes. It dropped on 3/15 or so. ElCamino is a Buffalo, New York rapper, MC, artist who I believe is with Griselda, or at least definitely affiliated. You know what I mean? Like heavy affiliated, like Capadonna before Wu-Tang Forever type of. You know what I mean? Like he's definitely there. You guys should know ElCamino, and also RealBadMan, who is a Los Angeles-based beatmaker, producer, and creative himself. We've reviewed a project with RealBadMan before, the Blue and RealBadMan project, and this is our first time tapping into ElCamino. So, Jet, how do you know ElCamino?
Through that broader Griselda Black Soprano fam infrastructure. I think he featured on I first heard about him on the Conway that we reviewed possibly 3 years ago at the very beginning of the show. La Máquina.
Yeah, okay. I was struggling to remember the name, but yeah, I don't remember the exact time that I got familiar with him. I've tapped in and out of his projects fairly consistently, but with the nature of what we do here, a lot of times, like when there's a project that we're not reviewing, I might listen to it once and then grab a song or two and then forget about it. So also my memory is terrible, so I couldn't tell you what albums that I actually tapped into, but he's an artist that I see getting a lot of praise and acclaim and appreciation. A lot of people like his styles, and the same goes for RealBadMan, who in the past, I haven't really been able to connect with his music in any serious way, and it doesn't have to do with his ability or anything like that. It's mostly just what piques your ear and what makes you feel decent about it. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the album. I suppose maybe we should discuss the bit of controversy that came around with this album. Yeah, you
mentioned that. I didn't really follow it. I'm not on Reddit that or anything. So
I should have made some notes, but essentially what I believe happened, and again, I did pick this up from the Hip Hop Head subreddit. Apparently, somebody levied accusations against RealBadMan for stealing their beats on two songs. The one with Benny the Butcher, Champagne Pisses, and then the other one, Melrose with Rick Hyde. And it's sample-based hip-hop, and people stealing beats is something that's happened quite a bit. I remember when Bugseed had one of his beats used and taken on a Wiz Khalifa album. Sometimes it's not nefarious, sometimes it is. But what I do know is that there was a post made on some social media platform by RealBadMan who came with receipts and explained, come on, man, we were making this before. It's also, it's a sampled record. People flip it. I flip it different. His chop is a little bit sloppier. Mine is cleaner. And also one of the
samples was different. It just wasn't the same sample at all.
Yeah.
The other one was kind of similar, but it wasn't even, it was kind of right. This is probably how you would chop this. This is the instrumental section. It's very lush. It's very beautiful. Just chop that part. It fits the broader aesthetic of a Griselda type record.
Indeed.
It seemed like kind of a non-controversy. I can understand if you're a smaller independent producer and then a bigger release comes out and you're oh, I made a beat that sounded like this and I sent it to him a week before it dropped. You might be suspicious. You might think that there's some foul play going on.
It's not something that
I feel it's no harm done. I feel maybe that there wasn't really any malintent on any party's behalf. I saw RealBadMan take a couple shots at the other producer in his post, but
cool beans.
Yeah, I mean,
you levy an accusation against somebody like that. You got to be prepared to and it's a thing that happens. I'm sure it happens a lot more often than we ever hear about it in hip hop music. But at the normally I would stray away from discussing controversy and things like that, but I did think that RealBadMan came with the proper receipts, and I'm inclined to agree with him on this. Although we're so distant from it, who knows? We just had one of our several talking points that we laid out that we haven't seen anywhere else on our show. Yep. Picked up by somebody in Pitchfork, and
on more than one occasion.
To me, it's like, okay, that's clear, but I don't really care enough to like really go on a tirade or start posting and trying to tear this person down, because it is also like, you know, like our thoughts are not super original, but that one just had so many different. You might as well used us for the brainstorm. But you know, shout out to all the independent artists who are getting their shit jacked. Keep on fighting the good fight, and shout out to guys like RealBadMan who come with receipts and have accountability, because the songs were removed from the project up until on my Spotify. It was removed up until like Thursday. Like I saw it on the app on my television. Yep. But not on my phone, and now they're back. So I kind of didn't give those songs as many listens as the other 8. Right. But yeah, let's get right into it. Jet, ElCamino, how you feeling about the overall vibe?
Yeah, pretty cool. I think I've warmed on RealBadMan. I kind of felt the same way that you did. That like my first like real experience with the RealBadMan was the Blue collab that we reviewed a couple months back, and I thought it was like all right. Like again, like you said, not because of the lack of ability or anything like that. I thought the beats were great. I thought the rapping was great, but the album just didn't really grab me. I think this album's like a little bit weirder. I think it's a bit more there's a little bit more going on sonically with this record that interests me, you know, that appeals to my own personal tastes.
Yeah, like you know, I heard the Boldy project, I heard the Blue project, and one of the things like to me is like there's a like an ecosystem of sound, right? I mean, type beats have been around for a minute as a type beat thing, and there's a lot of people who make beats that are towards this type of MC, like an ElCamino or a Boldy, or you know, like that sound similar to this, that have some of the more popular production tropes. And for me, I was having a hard time finding RealBadMan's actual personality in his production, and that's on me, because I talked to other people and they're like, I love RealBadMan, and I was like, all right, it ain't clicking for me yet. But with this project, I actually the production and like the way that the variety of production and approaches and sounds in the canvas that he provides for ElCamino kind of made me enjoy both of their music a little bit more than I have in the past. And I walked away from this saying like, hell yeah, this got some real dope joints on it. Also, there's a few features on here that I wasn't terribly familiar with, and I walked away being like, yo, fucking King Ralph is ill. Yeah, I fucking really like that King Ralph joint. To be honest with you, the song that I didn't care for the most is the joint with Benny, Champagne Pisses. It does come across as like the single. I don't know, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's the only one that I didn't really care for. The rest of them are dope. It starts off with, you know, things that I love. I love the fucking Wire. There's a few The Wire audio clips and samples on this. And I also really do enjoy ElCamino's lyrics and the way that he lays out a lot of things. It sounds as though, you know, he sees himself, he's an up and coming artist turning into a businessman, and he's developing into a man. You know, he mentions how he has twins and he don't got time to fuck around with somebody trying to provoke him. He has some songs on here that are really mature, and one of the reasons that I tend to not enjoy some hip hop is because a lot of the themes are just things that either they provoke in me a return to the old days where I was a little bit more confrontational, aggressive, and growing up on it, you know what I mean, and doing all the I don't need to, you know what I mean, like point out the shit that we was doing, but I do like to see that type of maturity, especially I'm a 40-year-old man, so I don't necessarily all the time want to hear about people not only retelling the things that they've done that are kind of antisocial tropes, but I want to see some maturity. I don't want to hear you rapping in the first person about actually doing these type of things now, because it just personally doesn't speak to me as a human. It comes across a little bit corny to me, you know, but yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you that I've never really cared much for the like aspirational type raps. I do think this album does do a very good job of skirting that line between being like a little bit more mature and introspective while also doing the like opulent, like string sample, rapping about champagne and
$2,000
cool
denim
cars,
and shit.
denim shit. Like, I think, you know, it does a good job of kind of skirting that line. Like, it manages to like feel like some, you know, real badass type shit while also having a bit more of a groundedness to it and just a more kind of authentic feeling. I do think at this point, you know, in this kind of weight class of hip hop, there are quite a few rappers who are doing the, like, I used to sell drugs and now I'm older and I worry about my investments type thing. But yeah, I think this one's maybe a little bit more personal. It's a little bit more relatable on like a human level.
Well, yeah, you know, he has a song "Come On Nephew," and that's one of the more interesting tracks to me on the album in terms of like the song, like the content of the song. Like, he's basically talking about him moving past some real betrayal type of shit. And in a lot of places, in a lot of cases, you're not able to just like brush off somebody disrespecting you like that, because it sets a precedence of, you know, shit in the future, getting tested in the future. And he talks about like, yo, I kind of want to kill this cat, but you know, like, it's a real mature take. He's like, you probably trying to provide for your kid, and I understand that, but how are you going to do that if you're not here? And so he's just kind of like, he's going to have to take the loss on that. And I feel like it's not something new under the sun, but at the same time, it is kind of an outlier in terms of things that you might hear from a Boldy or you know, name another plethora of kind of the East Coast style that happens here. And this is very much, to me, like, you know, he's a Buffalo rapper. It is the tradition of the New York style, and with also the changes in the modern culture or whatever. But like, he even got like, you know, kind of sing-song chorusy, like a 50 Cent, like, you know what I mean, but not quite as glossy. Or in things,
sure.
You know, it's like, this is real street level type of stuff, and those are kind of, you know, Love the Genius is also another one of the artists on Griselda that I've been listening to more, because there is a kind of grounded, mature, and less of a character or a superhero type of element to it. Like, I'm as crazy as I get, like, I still don't mind hearing somebody talk about, like, you know, the poppy wardrobe outfits and shit like that, even though sometimes to me it gets a little bit corny. That's just me thinking that, you know what I mean? Like,
what?
But yeah, the production and shit on this is dope. Like, Boldy's got a dope feature on here, and man, that some of these beats, I guess let me just put it on a little bit in the background while we're fucking around, because some of these beats, you know, you think that they're, oh, there goes a loop, but there's other things going on in them that just are enjoyable. This track right here, Fashion Week, every once in a while, you know, like I add a song to like my favorite songs of 2024, and I've maybe got like 22 songs on there now. Yeah, this immediately went to that, because him and King Ralph, who they have projects in the past, they like both of their voices, the way that they style, the differences and how they come together. Man, sometimes that shit just be hidden, and this is a fire track. This is crazy.
Yeah, this one does a really good job also. Like, RealBadMan does a really good job of like balancing the assonance with the dissonance. Like, the main like chord there, you have the it's like, you know, it definitely, the texture of it definitely implies this kind of opulence and this kind of like money making kind of style, you know, Fashion Week, etc., etc. But then this like run that you have, this arpeggio going over the top, this it's like a little bit dissonant, like there's some clashing notes on there, and it, you know, it gives it like a little bit more flavor, a little bit more texture, which is also fucking dope.
And King Ralph, man, he fucking slides on this shit. I just like his style. That was really dope. Also New Levels, which is the track after this, is to me, I think, one of ElCamino's best performances on the album lyrically. Like, it's just it's exactly what I kind of want to hear from. I imagine like the cast was fans of like your Lloyd Banks and you know, your rappers like that. Like, this speaks to them. I think it'll speak to them, and I'll fuck with it for that reason. This beat is dope too. Like, I'm finally on board with RealBadMan, and you know, like when Jed and I talk about music, we don't try to talk about it as like some objective criteria that we're using to describe things. It's like purely based upon art, the aesthetic values that we like, and the sonic values that we like from production and music. And finally, I'm like, okay, I see what everybody's been telling me about RealBadMan. I was just late to it, but yeah, this one works. Do you got favorites?
Yeah. Let me pull up track list real quick. I'll probably go with Chess Wrestlers, No Fighting, and New Levels.
All right, I've got Fashion Week, New Levels, and I'm gonna go Come On Nephew, just because, like I said, I think that was hard. Like you hear this is like, yeah, a lot of, yeah. Production's killing on this, man. Secret House
It's got
Against.
like a black exploitation thing going on, which is also ill. Yeah.
The Player K, Rick High, they're also dope on this. I'd like to give them some credit as well. It's a short listen, but it's a dope tight listen too. Yeah, we'll be back. I'm gonna be up on the next King Ralph shit, because this is the joint where I was like, all right,
I'm on board. Yeah, you're up.
I like his voice. I like the way he slide on that track too. It's really live. Secret House Against, Tokyo Bass, Hip Hop Art and Culture. We got people on the screen right now. Shout out to our new patrons. We got a few over the last few weeks. Think about the Discord. Think about hitting the subscribe. Think about hitting a like. Think about tossing a comment, and do those things if you feel the need to do. So I went and built a team. Now we finally winning rings. They like to